Hello, my name is Dane Parcel, and this is my submission for Module 5 for EDL 856, titled Understanding My Community. My community is Liberal, Kansas. We are the county seat of Seward County. We are not quite along the Colorado border, but we are within spitting distance of the Oklahoma border. A little bit of history about Liberal and how it got its name. A settler years ago was inhabiting the area, and in his efforts to help the travelers that would come through town, he would give them large amounts of water. And their response to him would be, well, that's mighty liberal of you. And so they took that word from that phrase and turned it into the name of our town. That settler, his name was Seymour Rogers, which is unique in the fact that one of our middle schools, when it was recently built, changed names from South Middle School to Seymour Rogers Middle School. We are a energy and agricultural community. As we talk, we've got lots of wheat cutting going on. We do have other corn, milo, and cotton that is part of our community as well. Our largest employment factor is the beef industry with ranches, feedlots, and packing plants. We do have growing dairy and pork processing plants as well. Some community events that are special to Liberal include Pancake Day, and on this day we compete with Only England as we see who is the fastest to win a pancake race. So where could you go wrong? We get the day off for school and we race and eat pancakes. We also have Ozfest, which is in celebration of our Dorothy's house and the Wizard of Oz. We have the 5-State Fair, Cinco de Mayo celebrations. We have the air show, a PRCA rodeo, about 15 miles to the west. We have a small town named Kismet, and they have the World's Fair. And then we have a folk art festival as well. Some recreational activities special to Liberal include the water park, the movie theater, air museum, Dorothy's house. We also have a minor league baseball team called the Liberal BJs, and we have an Arcalen Park, which is nice to get out and do some camping in. Our school is made up of 5 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, and 1 high school, with our current school large efforts coming as a result of Cinco de Mayo activities and redesign. We have a community college in our area, Seward County Community College, area technical school where students are able to receive associate's degrees as well as technical certificates. And then we do have 1 private school, Fellowship Baptist. Some characteristics in our population. Our population is a little over 21,000, with 80% of us being United States citizens. We do have a large amount of immigrants that come across into our town because of the beef industry and because of the other packing plants going around the area. What's unique about that 21,000 is that we're basically about 50-50 split in terms of our gender. We have a high poverty level of 20%, a large Hispanic population as the majority with 60%, with the whites being the minority at 30%, which is unique and shows the growth of our immigration. We have our median age of Liberal resident being 29 years, and our foreign-born residents equal 30%. 25% of our population has a high school diploma or a GED, with an additional 19% having a college degree. Within the town of Liberal are 3 working industries that are the top employment offices, include National Beef, the hospital, Southwest Medical Center, and USD 480. And we recently moved to a 6A school for the state of Kansas. We have always been a 5A school as long as I've been a teacher until last year when we moved to the higher class. Some community channels that exist within our town. We do have a newspaper called The Leader and Times, as well as that same newspaper does produce a Spanish version called El Líder. We have a Crusader, which is written by the community college, as well as Liberal Light, which is written weekly. We've got several radio stations, and of the 9 radio stations, some of them are English and some of them are Spanish. We do have a television station, although the majority of our news does come from the Wichita station. And we are a major traveling hub as we have the intersection of Highway 83 and Highway 54 that cross within our town, which are both very high traveled for industry purposes. Our school itself has a district newsletter. We have social media outlets through Facebook and Twitter. We also provide parents up to date information through e-notes. And we do have a segment on the radio, which I was a part of last year in an effort to get some hours for this certification. Some community groups that occur within Liberal include the Chamber of Commerce, several different elected official groups, such as the hospital and the Board of Ed. We've got a Kids Inc. and a United Way. Our USD 480 major groups include the Booster Club as well as That Liberal Band, which is a pretty popular community group for the band. We have several multiple churches within our town, as well as several nonprofit groups such as the Homeless Shelter or the Air Museum Board. We have Liberal Rainbow Players, which is a drama group. And we also have the Seward County Coalition, which brings in the whole county into our efforts to support our town. Leadership within our town include at the state and national levels, Roger Marshall and Shannon Francis as representatives. Our mayor is Connie Segrist, our sheriff is Bill McBride, and another leadership role is National Beef. Because they employ so many, they are a great influence to our community. Our USD 480, our leadership includes Renee Hickard as our superintendent, and then our Board of Education that have worked together to have a bond passed in the past few years. We don't have a lot of Hispanic leadership within our town, but because we are so large in population with our Hispanics, it would be great if we could get that to improve. These people do influence the board members and the community as well as the school personnel as well. Some additional characteristics of these leaders, most of them are generational. They have been within the area for years. They are business owners. They tend to like the way things are. So there's not a lot of minimal change, although you hear lots of rumors that are happening. There's just not a lot of change. We have a lot of hotels being built within our town, but not a lot of other businesses coming in to cause the need to have those hotels filled. And a lot of these elected officials do serve on multiple boards. The community leaders also do seem supportive of the school, as we just recently, as I mentioned, passed the bond issue to have new schools built. And a couple of the board members are a little bit more visible than others. However, they do all seem to be very supportive. Economic conditions of Liberal, as you can see through that picture, that is an old grocery store of Liberal. I've mentioned some of this before as meaning like the National Beef is our biggest industry. Transportation also occurs at the Liberal Airport with at least one flight every day coming in and out. We have the Union Pacific Rail across the Tucumcari line that goes through town. We have a 3% unemployment rate, and our sales tax is pretty high to help our bond issue. Our household income was also surprising to me at $47,000, and we do have a property value of a little over $100,000. Our political structure within the town is heavily Republican dominated. This current year, we do have an election year for our school board, and we have several females running for the school board. And I'm very excited about that because several of them are more than highly qualified for that position. But as usual, when it comes to anything, it does seem to be that political decisions always seem to be made and always come into play in these factors. For USD 480, we do receive categorical grants and Title I support. We've got lots of booster clubs and parent organizations, and then some of our businesses do provide sponsorships and do support our schools that way, buying out athletic events and student of the month activities. There is what I believe is some social tensions within our town. From a socioeconomic standpoint, you do have the north side versus the south side. The north side seems to be a lot more business owners. The south side seems to be a lot more those in poverty level. There is tensions within the need to change. There's lots of businesses that want to come in or are rumored to come in, but there never seems to happen. So that does anger the community. And our bond issue didn't pass the first time. I think we really heavily relied on athletics in that bond issue. And this last one, we relied heavily on academics, which is something I felt like should have happened in the first place. We do have some tagging going on within our community. I see all over the town. There's newly built fences, and then there's a tag right after it. So, however, I don't necessarily feel that there is a prevalence in gangs that now than we had in the past. I remember going through gang training, and that's just not something that is really of high need at this time. And like I mentioned earlier, we just need to have some more Hispanic representation on the boards in our offices. I think that they are just not comfortable there yet. I think we do try to incorporate them in decision makings. I just don't know if they have found the right pool in that aspect. Here's just a list of additional sources of community information. Most of them are found online. And within each of these websites, you can find board minutes and staff directories, as well as additional information about the town of Liberal and the community itself. There does seem to be a power struggle in Liberal that exists between the traditional residents that have been here for years and the ones that are coming in new. A lot of the new residents want to bring in more involvement and action opportunities. That would be beneficial to us at the school because a lot of times we have to recruit outside of Southwest Kansas and they don't stay very long because they don't feel like Liberal offers a lot more than, say, Wichita or Manhattan or Kansas City does. So they don't stay very long. We do have a great Hispanic population within our town. Like I mentioned, 60%. We do have a lot of businesses run by Hispanic individuals, food trucks and restaurants, car dealerships. So they do play a major part of our economy. And so it's important to make sure that we involve them in the success of the community as well. The Hispanics do have a Cinco de Mayo celebration, not only for the school, but the community. And then our African Americans also do celebrations themselves to honor their heritage as well. There's lots of soccer games going on throughout the day, throughout the year, throughout any time. It always seems like there's always soccer going to be played. Their power structure in terms of what we have here in Liberal, there is a chain of command that we follow within the USD 480. As I'm sure it's the same as the chain of command as many other schools. You need to be proactive and just have that plan to follow. Most of the power usually is aligned with the decisions of the Republican Party, but it's just important to have that plan and stay in the correct procedures. There is a mixed bag of opinions on our schools in terms of measuring our public opinion. At the high school level, with our redesign, we had a flex mod schedule added to the day. That has caused a lot of controversies because there's been some growing pains with that, and that is caused a mixed bag of opinions outside in the community. Some like it, some are not. At the elementary level, the opinions seem to be favorable. For the most part, some schools seem to be in the spotlight a little bit more than others, but all schools seem to have a favorable opinion. All schools have also completed needs surveys with the stakeholders as part of redesign to help us incorporate them a lot more in our efforts. Sorry about that. Some examples include newsletters, engagement nights, and informational meetings, and every school seems to be making a more conscious effort to try to bring in the community. At our public opinion, to get some parental opinion, we do use SurveyMonkey. We have informational meetings. We utilize conferences, and translation's always used for those to help our parents that speak Spanish or another language. Our students are polled as well as an all school, as well as through random selection. Ultimately, our goal is to learn together, lead together, one talent at a time at Sunflower, and we feel like by using public opinion surveys, we can do that. Thank you.